three-hole systems are only as good as the components that they're made out of, okay? This is supposed to be a 10,000 pound breaking strength hook. I see it's not marked, so more than likely this came from our Chinese friends, and it's probably not a 10,000 pound hook. The type of stitching and the type of webbing is very important, okay? If you have a web that is made with a short overlap or the wrong kind of stitching in the overlap, is going to cause a problem there. I've seen these things blow apart at about 5,000 pounds where the stitches just come right apart. Your ground ratchet, most of those should be at 10,000 pounds also. I had some shipped into me. It was supposed to be 10,000. They were breaking at 5,200 pounds. I sent them all back. The plate, the hardware, all that stuff, it all has to be. I hate to use the same old adage that we've heard as we were kids, but a chain is only as strong as its weakest link. Same deal here, okay? So if you're building this stuff yourself, the best advice I can give you is to do a little R&D. R&D does not mean research and development. It means rip off and duplicate, okay? Buy one from one of the reputable manufacturers and copy it. Don't try and reinvent the wheel if you want to do it yourself, okay? If you're not doing it yourself, please buy them from a reputable manufacturer. These guys test this stuff. They take them, I don't know if they go to UL, but they take them to laboratories and they pull them apart. They find out what thread works best, how many lines of thread, how long the lines need to be, so on and so forth. They do all of that for you. Buy them from a reputable manufacturer. That's really about all I can say about that. The last thing I have down here is alternative staking. I brought two of them along, and again, do not and do, okay? This is good for Fido in the backyard. That's what it's designed for, okay? You notice it has an open hook. It's not welded. This will come apart. Very small diameter, single flute, okay? Not for the tent industry, it's for the dog, okay? I believe these are also designed for mobile homes. I think that's why farmers use them, silos and things like that.
Mobile home ones are pretty decent, really.
This one here is manufactured by another tent guy in Middlebury, Indiana. He has a lot of wind issues down there. He started experimenting with it. It's a pretty good product. Uses a triple flute. This is actually stake material, tent material right here. And then he put this big eye on it. This is designed to work off of a hydraulic auger on a Bobcat. And he's got a pretty cool system. These things go in incredibly fast. This will go in the same or less amount of time that it takes to put in 3 stakes, and it holds as much or more than one of these 3-hole systems. And he just lays these out, and he just runs his Bobcat right down, screws them in, drives right over the top of it to the next one, to the next one, to the next one. Pretty incredible how fast he can get this stuff in and out of the ground. I'm not 100
all the way too.
I'm sorry?
All the way down.
All the way down. I'm not 100% sold on these. I've used them a couple of times just to try them. What I'm seeing with them is a little bit of bendage in this part right here. It won't ever pull out of the ground. You'll never ever get this to fail, but you will get it to bend and plow forward. And what I recommended that he do was to add another flute to the top, so that when we get to the very top, we've got a bigger surface area to keep that from bending.
They put spade on the mobile home ones. They put shovels right here. They drive in there with them for that.
But this is another alternative if you've got long-term poor soil, that type of thing. The other thing, I've talked to the folks down at Kirby Rental in Orlando, Florida. They do a lot of beach work on the beaches in Florida and stuff. They use a ton of augers.
Those augers
they tell me, no, they don't use this one. It's similar to this one. What they told me that they have luck with is to drive these in at the angle of the pull. So that the pull is actually this way and not trying to bend the shaft. Okay? Funny thing, well, the disadvantage to that is with Nate's system, you can't use a Bobcat anymore to drive them in. Now you got to go to a hand auger or something.
They have electric ones.
Yep. But the interesting thing was, is I took one of these and I drove it in that way, and we attached it to the tow truck, and it actually started to spin and started to unscrew itself out of the ground. So I don't know if that is the solution either. I don't have a whole lot of experience with augers. I can tell you they're out there. There are people out there that can help you if you want to get into them. I'm not there yet.
What I use it for, if you're going to set a tent up in the same spot all the time, either on the ground or your customer does or whatever, you get the same job. We put them all the way in the ground and you can't see them. And then we leave them. They're there, and man, I tell you what, you come back next year and use them, they don't move. Plus, if you don't have them stick them up, there's no leverage on it. And these things here, he's right, they're junk, because you hit a rock and that'll bend, you won't get it in, period. I don't care what kind of piece of equipment. Once you bend that, it does go in.
So basically what I want you to take away from this, size does matter, okay? Number of stakes, diameter, and length. Makes a big, big difference. Second thing, go to a uniform staking installation, okay? As you grow your business and you start getting into bigger tents and you start hiring crews and you start getting out of the field on a day-to-day and you've got other guys that are in charge, if you get everything uniform, that every tent gets staked the same way, that'll eliminate staking failures. Third thing is, as you grow, invest your money in stake drivers, okay? Because then it won't be such a big deal to add 15 stakes or 20 stakes or whatever. You just grab the stake driver and go, okay? There's 3 or 4 of those out on the market. They're all excellent machines. Invest in that. So those are 3 things I need you to take out of this. I've tried to do a staking demonstration like this with 1 stake driven in with a machine and 1 driven in with a hammer. The results aren't close enough to even waste my time, but it's usually 300 to 700 pounds different depending on how good you are with a sledgehammer. Machine driven is better than a sledgehammer driven as far as holding power.
Because when you hit it,
Because of
yeah,
that.
straight on the
As
top.
far as hitting it dead on versus every time you hit it, it goes like that. And then you enlarge the hole and your staking doesn't hold.
The other thing on the rotator cuff, swinging a sledgehammer, where's your rotator cuff out?
Are there any questions that I can answer?
Do you have any special recommendations for sandy soil? Oh, I'm sorry.
Good. His was, do I have recommendations for sandy soil? I don't encounter it in my lifetime, so I can't
all
really
we
give you
have.
first-hand. Second-hand information, augers. And I have one gentleman that does a lot of work on the beaches of Lake Michigan in the Milwaukee area. He honestly goes back to the old circus style 2.5-inch wooden stake. Swings a sledgehammer to drive them in. They are incredible for holding power. Disadvantages to them, they're fragile. If you don't know how to swing a sledgehammer decent, you're going to break the tops of them. They're hard to get out of the ground because there's no machine made that will get them out. You got to beat them sideways and twist them and all kinds of stuff. He has had tremendous. He's in Racine, but he does. Yeah, he does.